Hey guys, thanks for stopping by. Today I got a little philosophy video for you about carrying some sort of restraining device on either a bug-out bag or just an everyday carry bag or any other type of bag you may use for survival. In my opinion, some sort of restraint other than, obviously most of us are going to have paracord. You could fashion restraints out of that paracord. However, it would be, you have to know your knots pretty well, and there's a possibility that people can slip out of them very easily. So I recommend having some sort of restraint, whether it be in your bug out bag or survival kit. Now, there's two different ways to go. You can go with the disposable cuffs, okay? These are the Safariland flex cuffs. These are the flex cuff max cuff, okay? They, in my opinion, are some of the best flex cuffs on the market. Let's talk about these real quick before we even go into the standard handcuffs. These cuffs here, they're a very tough plastic, a very tough polymer. I believe they're rated for 550 pounds of pressure. So I mean, realistically, there's not going to be anybody breaking out of these. You don't have to worry about that. The ways people break out of these cuffs, they use a shoelace method where they pull a string from their shoelace and they grind through here with their feet by just moving their feet back and forth like this, and the shoelace uses friction and cuts through the cuffs. That's a possibility. They can also just, because it is polymer, you can take an edged weapon or a sharp surface, and you can cut through these and separate the cuffs very easily if you had access to something like that. And also, because it is a zip tie, there is a little ratchet device in here that ratchets onto these little markers, and if that is pushed forward, it is possible to release these out. So it does have some drawbacks for escaping. I mean, it's not perfect, but realistically, I mean, that's really not something you have to worry about unless you're, going to leave this person unattended for great periods of time. But if it's a quick situation where you need to restrain somebody for whatever reason, and those situations do come up where, not everything's shoot first, ask questions later. There are times, especially if some of the scenarios that you guys play out in your minds happen, you may have to restrain somebody. Not everybody is going to continue to be an aggressor once you show that you're able to defend yourself. So you may need to restrain somebody. I recommend taking some sort of course or some sort of training. Whatever you can afford, whatever you have time to do, it is a good idea to get trained on the proper implementation of these devices, because you can greatly hurt someone if you improperly put them in handcuffs, okay? You need to understand that while these things are just restraints, you can seriously injure somebody's arms or limbs or whatever by improperly putting these on. Give them nerve damage. I mean, those things are very possible. With handcuffs, you can break their wrists. So you need to get training on this stuff. These things, they're great because they cost a couple dollars. They're disposable, so if you put them on somebody, you're not worried about retrieving them off. If you need to get out of there, if you need to zip somebody up for whatever reason and scoot, not worried about losing your handcuffs, okay? They can be quickly released. You can just snap right here, just cut them with a Leatherman or just a bolt cutter or a wire cutter. Cut them right there, and they can be snapped into individual cuffs for each hand. And when they get snapped, they can also turn into an ID band. You can label them here on either side with information, but that really more applies to police procedures and for mass arrests, so they can label crimes and whatnot, or identification. You don't really have to worry about that. They're a little bit difficult to get started at first, so I recommend pulling them up one click and always having them up one click, because the first notch, because they can be released down, is the hardest to start. So once you get the first click in, it's very easy then to get it started. Great cuffs, you can deploy them very quickly, just as quickly as a pair of handcuffs if you know what you're doing, and they're not breaking out of these. another great thing about these is they don't take up essential bag space. And if you want to put these on the outside of a bug out bag per se, you could just use some of these like grim locks. You could use a carabiner, or you could use any other fast release device, and you can simply just clip them onto your MOLLE webbing, okay, or any other straps for that matter. You know, it has a multitude of different ways you can carry these on the outside of your bag rather than taking up the space on the inside. These cuffs also come in cuffs that are able to fold up like an accordion. They're much more expensive. Personally, I like these better. I don't need the ones that fold up. If I'm going to be going with something I need smaller, I'll go with a regular pair of handcuffs, but I carry these on the outside of my bag depending on what type of situation it's going to be and what type of role the bag is meant to be in. So these things are a great option for something very affordable. You can pick up a 3-pack for generally around 10 bucks, okay? Then you come on to your standard handcuffs. Pretty much all handcuffs from major manufacturers nowadays, whether it be like Pearless, Smith & Wesson, ASP, they're all good handcuffs, okay? You're not going to get a crappy pair of handcuffs from a reputable manufacturer. Don't buy the cheap $10 handcuffs because they're garbage, okay? If you're going to buy a good pair, get a Pearless, get a Smith & Wesson, or get an ASP. Those are really the 3 main brands that are going to provide you with the best set of handcuffs, okay? There may be other ones out there. Those are the ones I'm most familiar with. And I've used them all, and I recommend them all. There's nothing wrong with any of the models. Really, whatever you can get for the most money, if you're going to buy a couple pairs or whatever, even used ones, if they're in good condition, it doesn't matter. A lot of times police department have surplus, or jails will have surplus that they'll sell off, especially like leg irons and stuff, but that's a different video. These are great if you just want to throw these into a bag, like a bug out bag or a survival bag. You know, carry around with your extra ammunition. They don't take up much room. And like I said, you never know if you're going to need to restrain somebody for whatever reason, okay? And having these at your disposal and know how to use them is a great advantage. I mean, there's tons of videos out there for handcuffs. ASP ones are just the ones I happen to have here. I have many different sets. And these are the polymer coated. There's actually metal inside of here. These are my favorite because they're not so shiny. A lot of the other handcuffs are really, you know, polished up, and I like to have more toned down colors. That's why I have the black cuffs here. It really doesn't matter. I mean, the polymer, it's just as good. Polymer coat is just as good as the metal, just as strong. You don't have to worry about it. These have the locking piece, just like so a double lock, so it can't go in and out. So you can't close it in on yourself to pinch it down. And it has the standard release with a key on both sides. That was one of the advantages of these ASPs. It has a keyhole on both sides, okay? And it has a little, there's a little color indicator inside there. I don't know if you can see that. It's yellow, so you can tell when it is not locked, when it is not double locked, okay? And when you carry these around, carry them standard. You can get a pouch for them if you want, or you can just throw them in your bug out bag. Disadvantages with these, you need a key. So, you know, I normally carry a key on my key ring anyways. You can easily just throw one in your bug out bag. Doesn't take up any room whatsoever. Ways of escaping out of this are obviously slipping out. If they can slip their hands through if you don't put them on properly. They could take little, even paper clips, and you can fashion a key, and you can get out that way. But that takes a lot more skill than the zip cuffs to break out of. But like I said, that's not a real concern. If you're cuffing somebody up, odds are you're going to be watching them, or you're going to be getting out of there. So I think having a pair of handcuffs in a emergency survival bag, either if you're going to go with the plastic or you're going to go with the regular handcuffs, is definitely a great idea. They don't weigh very much, especially these guys weigh pretty much nothing. You throw them on the outside of a bag so it doesn't take up any interior room, or even at these, if you want to throw them inside your bag, take up virtually no space. It gives you a lot more options, people, and that's what the name of the game is. Thanks for watching. Rate, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me, and I will do everything I can to answer your questions. Thanks, guys.